Welcome to Drift into History. Tonight we will gently travel back in time, far across the ancient world, to the quiet and glowing city of Babylon. Imagine the sun sinking slowly beyond the flat horizon. The day has been warm, but now the air begins to soften. A river breeze moves gently through the evening. The sky holds bands of gold, dusty rose, and deepening blue. Palm trees stand beside the water, their leaves moving only slightly in the fading light. Ahead of you, mud brick walls rise from the earth, warm in color, soft brown and gold. The city seems to glow with the last light of the day. Narrow paths lead between houses. Flat roofs catch the evening breeze. Oil lamps begin to appear in doorways. One small light, then another, as if night is being welcomed by hand. Tonight, we are not here for kings, not for wars, not for great victories carved into stone. Tonight, we are here for something quieter. The sound of sandals on dusty ground, the smell of warm bread and dates, the dim glow of lamps beside clay walls, the quiet life of ordinary people. We will walk through streets of mud brick and shade. We will pause beside canals and riverbanks. We will pass market stalls, courtyards, temples, and rooftops cooling under the stars. We will follow the city as it slows, as work fades, as evening settles, and as the ancient world becomes calm enough for sleep. So take a slow breath, let your shoulders soften, let your hands rest, and allow the noise of the day to grow more distant. If thoughts arrive, let them come and go. Do not hold them. Do not chase them. Let them drift like river water, moving past quietly, without effort. Now imagine standing near the Euphrates. The water flows slowly through the evening light. Its surface catches the sky in broken colors: gold, blue, a little silver where the current turns. Somewhere nearby, a boat is tied to the bank. The rope moves softly against wood. A little sound, then stillness again. You can smell damp earth, warm clay, and the faint sweetness of palm dates carried on the breeze. Beyond the river, the city stretches outward. Walls, roofs, courtyards, and towers, not harsh, not distant, but lived in. A place of hands and steps and voices. A place where evening arrives one small moment at a time. A woman steps through a doorway carrying a clay lamp. She shields the flame with one hand. The light trembles once, then steadies. A child pauses beside her, looking down the lane, listening to the fading sounds of the day. Farther away, someone folds cloth on a rooftop. Someone gathers a basket. Someone draws water into a jar for the night ahead. No one seems rushed, because the brightest part of the day is over now, and Babylon is entering its gentler hour. The city is old, very old, built from river soil and human patience, brick by brick, wall by wall. The same earth that clings to sandals has been shaped into homes, into courtyards, into temple walls, into storehouses, into the quiet places where people sleep and wake and share meals. And in the evening light, all of it feels softer. The edges of the city blur gently. Dust hangs in the air for a moment, then settles. A small bird crosses the sky, then disappears above the roofs. If you walk slowly, you notice little things. A woven mat hanging beside a wall, a clay bowl left to cool, a bundle of reeds tied neatly near a doorway, a jar of oil catching the last light, a cat stretched in a warm patch of dust, then lifting its head as the breeze changes. Everything feels simple, practical, and deeply human. This is not the Babylon of loud stories, not the Babylon of power and splendor alone. This is the Babylon of evening bread, of lamps, of cool roofs, of small courtyards where water is poured into bowls, of quiet prayers spoken at dusk, of river air moving through open doors. And because of that, this city can become calm in your mind. A place not of noise, but of rhythm, not of spectacle, but of rest. Now imagine looking upward. The sky above Babylon is growing darker. The first star appears over the river, then another. The heat continues to leave the walls and stones. The city breathes out, and you can breathe out too. You do not need to follow every thought. You do not need to remember every detail. You can simply walk, simply listen, and let the ancient city become a gentle background for sleep. Welcome to Drift into History. Tonight, we will wander through a quiet night in Babylon. And when you are ready, we will begin. Take one more slow breath in and out. Let your eyelids grow softer. Let the river slow your thoughts. Let the lamps guide you into calm. And gently, quietly, drift into history. Morning comes slowly to Babylon. At first, the sky is pale, a soft gray blue above the river. The last stars fade one by one, and the air is cooler than it will be later. A light breeze moves across the Euphrates. The water carries the first light gently, silver at first, then pale gold, then a deeper blue. As the sky begins to brighten, the banks of the river are still quiet. Mud brick walls hold the coolness of the night. Flat roofs remain in shadow. Doorways are dark, and the city seems to rest for a few moments more. Then the first signs of morning appear. A shutter is pushed open. A door swings outward softly. A pair of footsteps crosses a courtyard. Somewhere nearby, a clay jar is lifted. The day begins not with noise, but with small sounds. The sound of water being poured, the sound of reeds brushing in the breeze, the sound of sandals on packed earth. A quiet rhythm, steady and familiar. Now imagine walking along a narrow lane near the river. The ground beneath your feet is firm, a little dusty, but cool. Walls rise on either side, made from sun-dried brick, the color of warm earth. Some walls are smooth. Some show little cracks from heat and time. A woven mat hangs from one doorway. A basket rests near another. Simple objects of daily life waiting for the day to begin. Ahead, the path opens toward the water. You can see people arriving with jars. Clay jars balanced on hips or held in both hands. A woman pauses beside the riverbank. She kneels, fills a vessel carefully, then rises again. Water shines at the rim before settling. Nearby, another person rinses a bowl. A child stands beside them, watching the water, watching the light. The river is not only part of the landscape, it is part of every morning. It gives water. It gives life. It gives movement to the day. Boats rest near the shore, some tied to wooden posts, some drawn partly onto the bank. A fisherman checks a rope. Another folds a net. The net is damp and dark, heavy in places, light in others. It smells of water and river plants. He lifts it, turns it, then folds it again. Not rushed, just practiced. A boat rocks gently. The wood gives a small sound. Then stillness returns. Above the bank, date palms rise into the brightening sky. Their leaves catch the first sunlight and move with a dry, whispering sound. The scent of dates lingers faintly in the air, warm, sweet, and dusty. Somewhere farther into the city, a small oven is being lit. The smell reaches the lane slowly. Warm grain, a little smoke, and the comfort of bread beginning again. Now imagine one of the homes near the river. Its door stands half open. Inside is a simple courtyard, cool in the early hour. A low table, A clay bowl, a storage jar resting in the shade. A woman grinds grain using a stone, back and forth, again and again. The sound is low, steady, almost soothing. Nearby, dough is prepared, water added, hands pressing, turning, shaping. Soon small loaves will be baked, and the scent of warm bread will drift through the lanes. Elsewhere, reeds are being bundled, cut from the water's edge, dried and tied. Some will be used for mats, some for baskets, some for roofs and walls. Nothing is wasted here. Everything has a use. Everything belongs to the rhythm of the river and the city. As the sky grows brighter, more people appear. A man leads a donkey loaded with jars. The animal walks slowly, its steps soft on the dust. A boy follows with a small basket. A woman carries herbs wrapped in cloth. The day is beginning in many places at once, quietly, patiently, without hurry. If you look across the river, you can see the light touching other banks, other walls, other paths. A whole world waking little by little. The city is large, but morning makes it feel intimate because every beginning is small. A door opening, a cup filled, a lamp put out, a net folded, a loaf shaped, a path walked for the 100th time. This is how Babylon wakes, not all at once, but in layers, like light rising slowly across water. Now imagine standing still for a moment, just listening. The river, a little breeze in the palms, the scrape of a grinding stone, a rope against wood, a donkey breathing, a voice calling softly from one lane to another. Nothing is sharp. Nothing is loud. Everything belongs to the calm beginning of the day. Soon the city will move toward work, toward markets, toward courtyards and temples, toward trade and daily labor. But this first hour belongs to water and cool air and bread and simple tasks. It belongs to the quiet space before the sun grows strong. Take a slow breath and let this Babylon morning settle around you. The river beside you, the clay walls, the cool jars of water, the soft scent of grain and dates, the low sounds of people beginning the day. Nothing more is needed. Only this gentle beginning, only this calm hour by the river. As we continue, we will walk farther into the city, into the lanes, into the work of hands, into the daily life that fills Babylon with quiet purpose. But for now, simply remain here, where the light is new, where the water moves slowly, and where the day has only just begun. Now the morning has fully arrived. The river is behind you for the moment, and the city begins to open in front of you. Imagine walking away from the bank and into the clay streets of Babylon. The ground is firm beneath your feet, hacked earth, smoothed by many steps. In some places, it is dusty. In others, it still holds a little dampness from the cool night air. The walls on either side are made of mud brick, warm brown, soft gold, the color of the earth itself. Some walls are plain, some have little cracks, some have reed mats hanging beside a doorway to keep out dust and sun. The streets are narrow, shaded in places, bright in others. The light falls in quiet patterns across the ground. One patch of sun, then shade, then sun again. As you walk, the city begins to reveal its sounds. Not loud, not harsh, but layered gently. A door opening, a broom brushing dust from a threshold, a pot set down on stone, a low voice from behind a wall, the distant sound of water being poured, and somewhere ahead, the quieter beginning of trade. In one lane, a potter has already begun work. His workshop is simple, a shaded opening beside a courtyard wall, shelves with drying bowls, jars of different sizes, a low wheel waiting in the corner. He sits down, places a lump of clay before him, and wets his hands. The wheel begins to turn. slowly, then more smoothly. His fingers press the clay, drawing it upward, steadying the shape. A jar begins to form, round at first, then taller, then smooth and narrow at the neck. The movement is calm, almost like prayer. The clay turns, the hands guide, and the shape rises from the earth. Nearby, another craftsman works with reeds. Bundles lie at his feet, cut cleanly and tied with fiber cord. He sorts them by size, some for baskets, some for mats, some for roofing. The reeds make a dry, whispering sound when moved, a soft brushing sound, light and repetitive, comforting in its steadiness. In another open doorway, grain is being ground, a stone pushed back and forth, again and again. The sound is low and regular, a deep, soft scraping, the kind of sound that becomes part of the morning without asking for attention. Inside, flour begins to gather in a shallow bowl. Soon it will become dough, and later, bread. In Babylon, much of daily life begins with hands. Hands shaping, hands carrying, hands pouring, hands tying. Nothing is rushed, because there is always another task after this one, and another after that, and each belongs to its hour. Now imagine following the lane toward a small market space. Not a grand square, not a place of spectacle, just an open area where paths meet. A shaded corner, a few tables, woven mats laid on the ground, clay jars lined in rows, bowls of dates, bundles of herbs, a little grain in sacks, a little fish wrapped in damp cloth, a little oil in sealed containers. The market is modest, but alive. A man arranges dates in a basket, dark and smooth, their sweet scent rising faintly in the warming air. Another places onions in a neat row. Beside them, garlic. Herbs are tied in small bundles. Mint, coriander, something bitter and green. A woman lifts a jar to the light, turns it in her hands, checks for cracks, then sets it down again. Nearby, a seller unwraps cloth from a stack of flatbreads, still warm, still smelling of grain and oven smoke. A child waits beside the stall, holding a small bowl, watching every movement. A donkey passes slowly at the edge of the market. Its load is baskets and jars. Its steps are patient, soft on the packed earth. The rope at its neck moves gently with each step. No one jumps aside. No one shouts. People simply shift, make room, then continue. This is the rhythm of the city. Slow accommodation, small adjustments, a practical quiet. Money is not always exchanged in the way a modern city might know it. Sometimes there is silver, sometimes weighed trade, but often there is simple value understood between people. A little grain for oil, bread for herbs, fish for dates, a jar for woven cloth. The exchange feels ordinary, calm, and clear. Nothing is theatrical, just the steady movement of goods from one hand to another. If you stand still for a moment, you can hear the market as a kind of soft music. Dates being tipped into a bowl, a clay lid set down, a basket brushed by a hand, low voices, a sandal turning in dust, the flick of a cloth shaken out once, then folded again. Above the market, flat roofs catch the sun. Some have baskets drying there. Some have cloth laid out. Some have people crossing slowly from one side to another. A child appears at the edge of one roof, then disappears again. A bird lands on a wall, looks around, then lifts into the brightening sky. Now imagine stepping into a narrower side lane beside the market. The light is dimmer here, cooler, a little more still. Someone is shaping mud plaster onto a wall. The hand moves upward, smooths, then upward again, leaving the surface neat and even. Nearby, a woman repairs a woven mat, fiber through fiber. Pull, tighten, pause, then continue. These little repairs are part of the life of the city too. Nothing lasts forever in sun and dust. So things are mended, reused, strengthened. A jar is patched. A strap is retied. A basket is repaired. A wall is smoothed again. And in that constant care, the city remains whole. As the morning moves on, the air grows warmer. But in the shaded lanes, the coolness lingers. A breeze from the river finds its way between the walls, carrying a smell of water, of damp reeds, of clay warmed by light. Somewhere behind a wall, bread is being turned in an oven. You smell it before you see it. Warm, dry, comforting. In another lane, someone pours water from a storage jar into a cup. The sound is clean and brief. Then, stillness. If you look carefully, you notice how Babylon is made of repeated forms: brick, reed, clay, basket, jar. Steady. We will move toward courtyards, toward midday food, toward a slower hour. But for now, simply walk slowly, peacefully, through the clay streets of Babylon. Now the morning begins to lean toward midday. The light grows stronger. The clay walls hold more warmth, and the city begins to slow in a softer way. Work does not disappear, but it changes. People move inward, toward shade, toward courtyards, toward water jars and quiet meals. Imagine leaving the small market behind. Its voices grow faint. Its baskets and jars disappear behind a bend in the lane. Ahead of you, a doorway stands half open. Inside is a courtyard, simple, cooler than the street, and full of stillness. The floor is packed earth and stone, a little uneven, worn by many feet. Along one wall stand jars of water, tall, round, shaded from the sun. Their surfaces feel cool to the touch. A low table rests near the center. A woven mat lies beside it. A basket of bread sits in the shade, covered lightly with cloth. Nearby is a shallow bowl of dates, dark and soft, their sweetness faint in the warm air. A small dish of herbs has been placed beside them, and a cup waits near a clay pitcher. Nothing elaborate, nothing meant to impress, only the food of the day. Simple, useful, comforting. A woman tears bread into pieces, slowly. Her hands know the motion well. A child reaches for a date, then another. An older man sits with his back against the wall, eyes half closed, resting in the shade. Not asleep, just still. The brightest hours of the day have come, and the whole house understands it. The lanes outside are quieter now. The strongest sun invites people inward, where walls cast shade, where air moves more gently, where the day can pause for a while. In Babylon, a courtyard is more than open space. It is a place of relief, a place of breath, a place where light enters softly, and where daily life can continue without the full heat of the street. Above, a strip of sky shows between the walls, bright blue, almost white with sun near the edge. A bird crosses overhead once, then is gone. On the ground below, the shadow of leaves moves slightly. Date palms beyond the wall are catching the breeze. Their sound comes softly, a dry whisper, then quiet again. Now imagine the meal more closely. Bread, still warm enough to hold a little heat from the oven. Dates, sweet and heavy with sun. Maybe lentils cooked earlier. A little onion, a few herbs, perhaps cheese if it is available. Maybe fish from the river, prepared in a simple way. Not much, but enough. Enough for strength, enough for comfort, enough for another day. A cup is filled with water, lifted, passed from hand to hand. The water tastes cool from the shade of the jar, a small mercy in the warmth of midday. Another cup holds a little beer, cloudy, light, common in the ancient world, practical rather than special. This is not a feast. It is not a celebration. It is daily life. And daily life has its own quiet beauty. A cloth is folded after use. A bowl is wiped with bread. A date pit is set aside. These small gestures belong to the rhythm of the house. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is hurried. Nothing is loud. Now imagine stepping into the room beside the courtyard. The air is dimmer there. The walls hold coolness. A mat lies on the floor. A basket rests in the corner. A folded cloth has been placed near a low bench. This is where the hottest hour is passed, not in complete silence, but in quiet. A child lies down for a while. Someone sits with spinning fiber in hand. Another repairs a small tear in a cloth. Hands continue to move, but more slowly now. A quieter kind of work, the kind that belongs to shadow, the kind that does not fight the day. Outside the courtyard, you can still hear the city, but only faintly. A donkey passing in the lane, a voice calling once, a jar set down on stone, then calm again. The walls hold those sounds at a distance. They soften them, turn them into part of the background, part of the warm stillness of midday. Now imagine someone pouring water into a shallow basin. The sound is clear, soft, a short stream. Then, stillness. Hands are rinsed. A cup is dipped. A cloth is dampened and pressed to the neck. Another small comfort. Another simple answer to the heat. At one side of the courtyard, herbs hang to dry. Their scent is stronger in the warmth. Mint, coriander, something bitter, something green. The smell mixes with warm bread, with dates, with clay, and with the faint smell of river water carried through the city. If you remain here long enough, you begin to notice very small things. The way light shifts across a wall, the way dust rises once in a beam of sun, then disappears. The way a cup leaves a dark ring on the table where cool water touched wood. The way a child's breathing becomes slower in the shade. The way the whole house seems to exhale. This is one of the softest hours in Babylon. Morning labor is behind. Evening movement has not yet begun. The city rests between them, held in warmth, held in shade, held in a kind of patient quiet. And in that quiet, the mind can rest too. You do not need to think ahead. You do not need to go back. You only need this moment, this courtyard, this bread, this water, this stillness in the middle of the day. Now imagine a woman lifting the cloth from the basket again. Another piece of bread is offered. A child takes it. A date is placed beside it. The gesture is ordinary, repeated many times before, and because it is repeated, it is comforting, because it means the day is moving as it should. The house is as it should be. The meal is enough. The shade is enough, and that feeling of enough can be very peaceful. Take a slow breath and let this courtyard settle in your mind. The cool water jars, the bowl of dates, the dry whisper of palm leaves beyond the wall, the quiet sound of a cup being set down, the warm earth under shade. Soon the light will soften again, the heat will begin to fade, and we will step back into the city as afternoon returns. But for now, remain here, in the calm heart of Babylon, in the courtyard shade, where bread is shared, where water cools the hands, and where even the brightest day can become gentle. Now the strongest heat of the day begins to loosen. The light is still bright, but it no longer feels as sharp. The city starts to breathe again, slowly, gently. People step back into the lanes. Doors open wider. Courtyards empty a little. and Babylon begins its quiet return to work. Imagine leaving the shaded courtyard. You step once more into the lane. The clay walls are warm beside you, but the air moving through the city is cooler now. A breeze from the river finds its way between the buildings. It carries the faint smell of water, wet reeds, and sun-warmed mud brick. You walk toward one of the canals. These smaller channels carry water through the city, not with the broad movement of the Euphrates, but with a quieter purpose. They slip through neighborhoods, past walls, past workspaces, past courtyards and storehouses. The water is calm, dark in the shade, bright where the light touches it. A little boat rests beside one bank. Its side taps softly against wood. A rope creaks once, then becomes still. Near the canal, someone kneels to rinse a bowl. The water catches the motion. Small circles widen, then fade. Another person fills a jar, lifts it carefully, and steps back into the lane. Everything here feels practical, simple, and calm. A few reeds have been cut and stacked nearby. Their ends are pale where they have been trimmed. The smell is green and clean. A bundle is tied with cord. Another is carried away on a shoulder. These reeds will become mats, baskets, roof covering, part of a wall, part of a bed. Even in a great city, life is made from useful things. Now imagine following the canal farther. The lane widens slightly, and ahead, on higher ground, you can see a temple wall, not towering, not distant, just present. Its shape is steady against the afternoon sky. Babylon has great temples, but also quieter, sacred spaces. Places where people pause, places where incense burns, places where offerings are small and sincere. You climb a few steps. The stone is warmer than the shaded lane behind you, but the air near the entrance feels still, cooler, held by thick walls. Inside, the light is dim. A lamp burns low. Its flame is steady. Thin lines of smoke rise from incense. The scent is dry, warm, and slightly sweet. A bowl sits near the altar. A few dates have been placed inside. A little bread, a small cup. Someone has come and gone already, leaving only these quiet signs behind. A priest moves through the space slowly. His sandals make almost no sound. He carries a small vessel, pauses, then sets it down. No sudden motion, no loud command, just a practiced sequence. A calm order in a place of shade and smoke and stone. Now imagine standing near one wall of the temple, looking out through the doorway. From here, you can see the city in softer light. The roofs, the lanes, the canal below. A donkey moving between houses. A woman carrying cloth. A child crossing a courtyard. The temple does not stand apart from life. It stands within it, watching over the same bread, the same water, the same dust and light and evening air. When you leave the temple, the city feels changed again, not because anything dramatic has happened, but because the afternoon has shifted. The heat has eased, the breeze is steadier, and work resumes in a quieter form. In one lane, a potter returns to the wheel. The clay is softer now, more forgiving. His hands lift another shape from the earth. A storage jar this time, broad at the base, strong at the neck, built for grain, or oil, or water. The wheel turns with the same calm rhythm as before. In another courtyard, someone presses dates into a paste. The smell is rich and sweet, the texture thick and dark. A bowl is filled, covered, and set aside. Nearby, someone pours oil from one jar to another, slowly, carefully, a thin gold line in the light. No drop wasted. Along another wall, thread is being wound. Fiber over wood, round and round. A simple movement, easy to follow, easy to imagine. A child sits nearby with a small basket of date pits, sorting them, counting them for no real reason except the pleasure of having something to do. The city feels full of these small tasks, small continuations, the kinds of things that bring afternoon gently back to life. If you pause and listen, you can hear Babylon in layers. A broom on packed earth, a clay lid set in place, a low conversation behind a wall, a splash from the canal, the dry movement of reeds being stacked, a goat shifting in shade, and always, beneath it all, the quiet sense of water, the river in the distance, the canals nearby, the life of the city moving with them. As the sun lowers, the shadows grow longer. A wall that was bright now holds shade. A lane that was hot becomes walkable again. People begin to step out a little more, not in the noise, but into motion. A man carries bread from an oven, wrapped in cloth. A woman takes herbs from a line where they have been drying. Another gathers bowls from a low table in a courtyard. The day is moving onward, toward evening, toward lamps, toward supper, but not yet. For now, this is the gentle hour between heat and night, a time when the city works softly, when temples stand cool, when water moves through narrow channels, when hands return to useful tasks, and when the mind can rest in the repetition of it all. Now imagine walking beside the canal once more. The water reflects a softer sky now, not the sharp brightness of noon, but a warmer tone, a quieter tone, a tone that promises evening will come soon. The breeze touches your face and carries away the last heaviness of the day. Take a slow breath and let this Babylon afternoon settle around you. The canal, the reeds, the temple shade, the turning wheel, the bowl of dates, the low lamp inside the sacred room. Soon we will move into the golden light of evening, and the city will soften even more. But for now, remain here, in the quiet return of work, in the slow breathing of the canals, in the calm, steady heart of Babylon. Now the afternoon begins to soften into evening. The light turns warmer, the clay walls glow with a gentler color, and Babylon begins its slow movement toward night. Imagine leaving the canal behind. The water is still there, still moving quietly through the city. But now your steps lead upward, through narrow lanes, past mud-brick homes, past small courtyards, past walls that hold the last warmth of the day. The air is different now, not cool yet, but softer, easier to breathe. A breeze from the river drifts between the buildings. It carries the faint smell of water, a little damp earth, a little smoke from evening fires just beginning to wake. Above the lane, the sky has changed. Blue is still there, but gold has returned at the edges, and a little rose where the sun lowers toward the horizon. Even the dust in the road seems warmer now, more golden, less harsh. You pass a doorway. Someone is gathering cloth from a line, folding it once, then again. A basket is lifted from the ground. A clay jar is moved from sun into shade. The city is preparing itself, not with urgency, but with quiet understanding. In Babylon, evening arrives in layers. First, the light changes, then the air, then the sounds, and finally the lamps. Now imagine a temple in the evening light, not far from the lanes. Its walls rise steadily from the earth. Its doorway is shadowed, its upper edges still bright with sun. A few people move toward it, slowly. A woman carrying a small lamp, a man with a bowl covered in cloth, a child following a few steps behind. No one speaks loudly. The evening itself seems to ask for gentleness. At the entrance, a lamp is lit, then another inside. The flames are small. They flicker once, then steady. Warm points of light in the cool dimness. Incense rises in a thin line. Its scent is soft, dry, a little sweet, a little bitter. It mixes with warm clay and the last sunlight. Inside the temple, the floor is cool. The walls hold the shade of the day. A priest moves slowly between the altar and the doorway. His steps are soft, his hands deliberate. An offering is placed. A cup, a piece of bread, a few dates. Nothing excessive, nothing dramatic, just the quiet act of ending the day with care. In these moments, Babylon feels balanced. The work of the city continues outside. The water moves through canals. The bread still bakes in ovens. Children still move through the lanes. And yet here in the temple shade, everything slows further, as if the whole city pauses for one long breath. Now imagine leaving the temple and climbing a short stair toward a flat roof. Rooftops are important in Babylon. They catch the evening breeze. They hold the last light. They offer space above the dust and narrow lanes below. On one roof, someone has placed a woven mat. On another, jars stand near a wall where the air is cooler. A cloth hangs from a line, moving gently. A pair of sandals rests beside a doorway. On one roof, a family prepares for evening. A child sits near the edge, watched carefully. An older woman folds a blanket. A man sets down a small lamp, not yet lit. Everyone moves with the quiet rhythm of repeated habit. No one rushes, because there is still a little light left. Still time before full dark. From the roof, the city looks different. You can see walls and lanes from above. You can see other roofs, other courtyards, other lamps being prepared. Beyond them all, you can see the river, a darker line in the land, catching the sky in pieces. And farther still, the horizon, flat and wide, holding the sun for just a little longer. Now imagine the first lamps in the city, not all at once. One near a doorway, another beside a courtyard wall, another on a rooftop, another in the temple, small lights appearing one by one, as if Babylon itself is beginning to glow from within. The clay walls hold that light beautifully, soft gold against warm brown, not bright, not sharp, only enough to guide a step, enough to make a room feel safe, enough to turn evening into home. The sounds of the city change too. Workshop noises fade, the potter's wheel slows. The broom is set aside. The last baskets are carried in. The market has nearly disappeared into memory. Now the sounds are lighter. A cup touched to a table. A child speaking softly. A donkey shifting behind a wall. The rustle of cloth. The low crackle of a small fire. The movement of leaves in the breeze. If you listen carefully, you can hear how evening settles, not by silence alone, but by the softening of everything. The whole city becomes rounder at the edges, less defined, more like a memory while it is still happening. Now imagine standing on the rooftop as the sun finally disappears. The gold fades from the walls. The rose leaves the sky. Blue deepens, then darkens. The first true star appears above the river, then another. The breeze is cooler now. It touches your face, moves the edge of a hanging cloth, lifts the scent of dates and bread from somewhere below. The city is not asleep yet, but it is on its way. And that in-between feeling is one of the gentlest of all. A lamp is lit near you. Its flame trembles once, then steadies. The light touches a jar, a mat, a folded blanket, a hand resting on clay. All small things, all ordinary things. And because they are ordinary, they are comforting. This is how Babylon moves toward night, not with noise, but with light, with breath, with calm preparation, with rooftops and temple shade and river breeze. Now take a slow breath and let the first lamps settle in your mind. The warm clay walls, the small flames, the evening air moving above the roofs, the temple doorway behind you, the river beyond the city. Soon the sky will darken fully. The stars will spread above Babylon, and the city will become quieter still. But for now, remain here in the soft evening light, where the first lamps glow, and where ancient Babylon prepares gently for night. Now the evening has deepened. The first lamps are already glowing. The last color of sunset is fading, and Babylon begins to gather itself inward. Imagine stepping down from the rooftop. The air is cooler now, not cold, but calm, a little softer on the skin. The lanes below are dim. Here and there, a lamp burns near a doorway, a small circle of gold on the ground. Then, darkness again. Then another lamp farther along. The whole city feels quieter than before, not silent, but gently reduced, as if the day has folded itself away. You pass an open doorway. Inside, a room glows with warm lamplight. A clay lamp rests in a niche. Its flame is small, steady, and enough to fill the room with a soft orange light. A low table stands in the center. Bread has been placed on it. A shallow bowl of dates. A small dish of herbs. Perhaps lentils. Perhaps onions cooked until tender. Perhaps a little fish from the river. The food is simple, but enough. Enough for comfort. Enough for the end of the day. A family gathers close, not crowded, but near one another. A child sits beside a parent. An older person leans against the wall. Someone tears bread slowly. Another pours water into a cup. The sounds are small. A clay cup touching wood. A piece of bread breaking. A cup being set down again. No one speaks loudly. There is no need. The day's work has passed. The cooler hour has arrived, and everyone seems to know it. Now imagine the smell inside the room. Warm bread, oil, a little smoke from the lamp, dates, and the faint, dry scent of clay walls that have released the heat of the day. It is a scent of home, a scent repeated night after night, a scent that tells the body it can rest. Outside, the lane holds only a few movements now. Someone carries a bowl from one house to another. A child is called softly from a rooftop. A donkey shifts in its place behind a wall. Then quiet returns. From farther away, there may be the faint sound of the river. Not loud enough to hear clearly, only enough to feel. A quiet sense that water is always there, always moving, always carrying the city gently through another night. Now imagine another house nearby. The doorway is open. Just a little, enough for lamplight to spill across the threshold. Inside, someone folds a cloth after the meal. Another wipes a bowl clean. A jar is covered. A lamp is adjusted. The wick is touched once. The flame lowers slightly. Still steady, still warm. This is the kind of hour that history books often pass over. But it is one of the most human hours of all. The hour when work is no longer expected. The hour when hunger has softened. The hour when families remain together for a little while longer before sleep. Nothing dramatic is happening, and that is exactly what makes it calming. Now imagine looking upward through an opening in the roof or courtyard. The sky above Babylon is darker now. The first stars that appeared earlier are joined by many more. Small points of light spread across the sky. Steady, unhurried. Ancient people looked upward often, not only for signs, but because the sky itself felt reliable. Night after night, the stars returned, and in that returning, there was comfort. Perhaps someone in the house points upward. A child looks. A question is asked quietly. A simple answer follows. Then everyone returns to the soft rhythm of the room. A cup passed from hand to hand. A final piece of bread shared. A little silence. Then a few words again. Now imagine stepping outside once more. The city has grown gentler still. The lanes are mostly empty. Lamps burn lower. Their glow soft against the clay walls. At one doorway, a small shrine holds a flame. Beside it, a little offering, a date, a pinch of grain, a quiet gesture, one more act of care before the night fully settles. Farther away, on a roof, you can see silhouettes. A family still sitting in the cooler air, a blanket folded beside them, a jar near the wall, a lamp turned low. They are not doing very much, just looking upward, just resting in the breeze, just letting the day end. From where you stand, the city looks like a field of tiny lights, some bright enough to notice, some almost hidden, all scattered among flat roofs and quiet lanes. And above them, the stars, more numerous now, more certain. The river reflects almost none of the city from this distance. Only a little darkness, a little shimmer, a moving line of black and silver in the night. The breeze from the water reaches the town slowly, touching walls, touching cloth, touching the flame of a lamp without extinguishing it. Everything feels balanced. Enough light, enough dark, enough warmth, enough coolness, enough quiet. This is the hour when thoughts begin to loosen, when the mind no longer needs to hold the shape of the day, when tasks can be forgotten until morning, when even a great city becomes small enough to rest inside. Now imagine sitting beside one of those lamps, watching its tiny flame, the way it moves once, then steadies, the way it lights the curve of a cup, the edge of a bowl, the lines in a clay wall. A flame like that does not ask for much. Only oil, only a wick, only shelter from the wind. And yet, it changes the whole room. It makes darkness feel gentle. It makes home feel visible. It makes the hour feel complete. Now take a slow breath and let the lamplight settle in your mind. The bread, the dates, the quiet voices, the stars over Babylon, the soft river breeze reaching the city, the clay walls holding the last warmth of day. You do not need to remember every image, only the feeling. Warmth, safety, stillness, ancient Babylon at night, simple, quiet, and almost ready for sleep. As we continue, the city will grow quieter still. The lamps will burn lower. The stars will spread even wider, and we will drift into the deepest part of the night. But for now, remain here in the gentle hour of supper and lamplight, under the first stars over Babylon. Now full night has arrived in Babylon. The last glow of evening is gone. The sky is dark and wide, and the city rests beneath the stars. Imagine standing once more above the river. The Euphrates moves slowly through the dark. Not bright, not loud, only a long black ribbon with touches of silver where the light catches it. The breeze rises from the water, cooler now, softer. It carries the faint scent of damp earth, reeds, and the quiet promise of sleep. The city below has become a field of small, dim lights. Some lamps still burn behind doorways. Some flicker on rooftops. Some are nearly gone already. Their flames small, their glow gentle. Nothing feels harsh. Nothing asks anything of you. The day is complete. The work is finished. The bread has been shared. The jars are filled for morning. The nets are folded. The bowls are set aside. And Babylon is at rest. Now imagine walking once more through a narrow lane. The walls beside you are cool. The ground under your feet is firm and quiet. A doorway glows faintly. Then, darkness. Then another soft light farther ahead. The city no longer feels like a place of labor. Now it feels like a place of breathing, a place of sleep, a place held gently by night. Inside one home, a lamp is turned lower. A child is already asleep, wrapped in cloth, breathing softly. A cup rests empty near the wall. A bowl has been covered. The last voice has faded, and silence has taken its place. In another home, someone lies on a roof beneath the stars, a blanket folded under the head. The breeze from the river touching the face, the night sky wide above, and nothing more to do. Only rest, only listen. If you listen closely, Babylon at night has its own soft sounds. A little movement of reeds by the water, the smallest creak of rope against a boat, a goat shifting once behind a wall, then stillness again, a bird far away, then nothing. The kind of quiet that feels full, not empty, full of calm, full of distance, full of room for the mind to let go. Now take a slow breath and imagine that you are here too, above the city, above the river, in the cool night air. You do not need to think ahead. You do not need to carry anything from the day. You can let every thought loosen, like a rope being untied, like dust settling after footsteps have passed. The stars above Babylon are steady. The river below is steady, and you can become steady too. If a thought comes, let it drift away, like a small boat moving through dark water, seen for a moment, then gone. If a memory appears, let it pass, like a shadow across a wall, soft, brief, then gone again. Return instead to simple things, the coolness of the air, the softness of cloth, the faint scent of clay and river water, the quiet of a city that has surrendered to night. In ancient Babylon, this hour would come again and again, after every market, after every midday meal, after every temple offering, after every walk beside the canal. Night would return, and with it, this same stillness, this same slow breathing of the city, this same chance to rest. Now imagine one small lamp. Its flame is tiny. It flickers once, then grows steadier, then lower. The light touches a clay wall, a woven mat, the rim of a water jar. All simple things, all ordinary things. And because they are ordinary, they are comforting. Now you can repeat a simple thought if it helps. The night is calm. The river is calm. I am calm. The night is calm. The river is calm. I am calm. Let the words soften each time until they are no longer words. Only a feeling, a quiet heaviness, a peaceful stillness, a gentle drifting. Now take one more slow breath in and out, and let Babylon fade softly into the distance. The clay streets, the warm walls, the courtyards, the date palms, the temple lamps, the rooftops, the river under the stars. All of it can grow quiet now. All of it can become still, and you can drift peacefully into sleep. Thank you for joining this quiet journey. Thank you for drifting into history. Good night and sleep well.